First and foremost, thank you to everyone for dialing in. We know a lot of folks are on vacation and out of town and are still joining in, so really appreciate everyone's attendance in the call. And we're really excited to share with you a whole host of updates and a lot of live demos and capability deep dives. We're going to have Lance, who's going to show Azure SQL migration. We have Natalie from the AI Foundry team, who's going to speak to Azure AI Foundry local capabilities. We're going to have Justin talk about Arc auto agent upgrades, which are just hit public preview. And then we're going to have Mutemwa talk about OS setting and configuration capabilities, which also hit a preview as well. So there's a lot planned today, a lot of demos we've got in store for you. But before we get started, I also wanted to take this quick chance to introduce my colleague Eunice, who's joined the Arc server team and will be helping with the Arc forum as well as newsletter. So you might have seen an email from him. Eunice, if you wanted to say hi to everyone in the call.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. As Arnav said, I'm a PM on the ARC team. Super excited to be a part of the community and help where I can.
Awesome. Great. With that, we'll go ahead and kick things off. Quick note, we had the August agent release, version 1.55. There were a few small fixes with this agent release version, but again, really important to stay on the latest agent version because that's how you're going to access the latest server management capabilities, quality and security fixes rolling out. And as Justin is going to share with the auto agent upgrade, it's going to be even easier to stay on the latest Arc agent version. With that bit of housekeeping done, let's dive right into it. Lance, excited to hand over to you to demo and talk through the Azure SQL migration capabilities.
Awesome. Thanks, Arnav. Hey, folks. My name is Lance Wright. I am a PM in the Azure SQL organization, and I work on Arc-enabled SQL Server. So it's a pleasure to be able to meet with you all today to talk about a exciting topic, which is migrations. And before I kind of like dive into it a little bit, a lot of the customers that I have been talking to, they're kind of in this hybrid and multi-cloud environment where they have some workloads in Azure, they have some workloads on-prem, they have some workloads in other clouds like AWS and GCP, but they are increasingly looking to migrate more and more of their workloads to Azure. And obviously, Azure Arc is a great platform to be able to help you to get that visibility into your hybrid and multi-cloud data estate and be able to use some of the Azure capabilities as kind of and provide and use Azure as kind of your single control plane for your hybrid and multi-cloud data estate management. But as I said, lots of customers are looking to actually migrate those data workloads to Azure. And today I'm kind of excited to talk to you about some upcoming capabilities, or actually some new capabilities that we have in that front. So yeah, thanks, Arnav. So Azure Arc is here to help you migrate your data workloads today to Azure SQL Managed Instance. And if you haven't kind of been paying attention to the Azure SQL space or the Arc-enabled SQL Server space, about a year and a half ago, we released a capability to get continuous migration assessments, which provide you with recommendations on which of the Azure SQL offerings you are ready to migrate towards. And those are all based on performance metrics that we collect, as well as compatibility analysis of your Arc-enabled SQL Server. And earlier this year, we added a connections discovery experience to that process, where you can actually see a list of the applications and users that have recently connected to your databases. And we also added some at-scale dashboards that are available in the Arc Center, as well as the database migration service. So you can see at scale how many of your databases are ready to migrate to Azure SQL MI, Azure SQL Database, or a SQL Server running on an Azure VM. And you can, of course, consume all of that data through the Azure CLI or through APIs. You can write an ARG query and build your own custom dashboards. So we have lots of capabilities available to help you get kind of a continuous assessment of your readiness and ability to migrate to Azure SQL. And today we are we have a public preview available, which I'll show in a demo on the next slide, of being able to migrate towards Azure SQL managed instance. And through that process, you can start that migration journey either through the Azure portal or using the Azure CLI or PowerShell. And of course, we have Copilot integrated as part of the process to help you analyze your options and make an informed decision. And you can, of course, monitor that migration process. And once the migration is completed, you can basically initiate a cutover and start to fail over to that managed instance up into Azure. And of course, we do have some flexible licensing options. If you're using SQL Software Assurance today, you can, of course, use Azure Hybrid Benefits to kind of continue to leverage that software assurance that you've paid for. Or if you're ready to kind of switch over to more of a consumption-based billing model, you can use pay-as-you-go billing to, use that, pay for that managed instance up in Azure. So with that, let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And there's actually a 2-minute demo that my colleague Danny has recorded. So Arnav, when you can, go ahead and hit play, and hopefully we got the audio coming across too. Awesome. And Arnav, we go to the last slide, and I'll
Yeah.
close up here.
Yep.
So
I
yeah, as
think
you,
one quick question. Some folks mentioned they were not able to hear the video. So
I
I'm
saw
not
that.
sure, Lance, if you're going to be able to provide like a link. I don't know if this
Yep.
is on
Yeah,
YouTube. Yeah,
I got a message here that I'll send out here in just a second. So yeah.
perfect.
So yeah, as you hopefully saw in the demo, even if the audio didn't come across, it is pretty easy to set up a migration to Azure SQL Managed Instance. And there's a step-by-step process that you can follow. There's Copilot available to help you along the way. There's business justification that we generate for you. And yeah, I would definitely encourage you to check it out. We have our documentation at aka.ms/arc-migrations-docs, and I'll put the links in the chat, of course, and also the link to the YouTube video. So, but that's it for me for today. So I'll turn it back to you, Arnav. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lance. That was a great demo to see and really exciting how seamless it is to have the migration for SQL Server. Easier to have the SQL Server migration than even play a video on Teams with sound that works for everyone. But with that, we'll hand over to Natalie, and we're excited to share more about Foundry local capabilities. So Natalie, if you want to take control and go ahead with the screen share as well.
Sounds great. So I've taken control here. Can everyone just see that slide there? Foundry local. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, I'm Natalie. I'm a PM in the AI frameworks team, so probably a little bit of a different team than ordinarily presents, but we thought it could be interesting for this audience to find out a little bit more about Foundry Local, the product that we put into preview at Build. So what is Foundry Local? Um, Foundry Local enables developers to seamlessly download and run AI models completely locally on device. I mean, that's after they've downloaded the model, of course. And then once the model is downloaded onto your device, you can develop and deploy applications that use these models. It makes use of the Onyx model format and the Onyx runtime to execute the models once they're on your device. Foundry Local provides a CLI and SDK and REST API to list the available models, download models to device, and then serve the model using a local endpoint. So yeah, just why would we want to run on device AI? And of course, some of these scenarios are going to be like intersecting with the reasons that customers would want to run Azure Arc. So in your on-prem configuration, and we've been talking with Azure Arc about places where we might be able to like integrate the two products together and have scenarios which make the best use of each product. So firstly, cost. Running on device means you're not incurring any per token cost. You have complete privacy and data residency. So similar to, often the Azure Arc scenarios where you need to keep all of your data completely within your own, on your own hardware. But this is like even takes it a step further, doesn't even leave the device. Then there's the latency and real-time responsiveness. So, for example, like some gaming applications like cannot, wait for a request to go out to the cloud. Your offline capability, so you can continue to develop your applications while you're, in the air, on a plane, out in places that do not have internet. And then your developer experience, you don't experience any like quota systems or throttling. So then, so that's like a general, pitch for why on-device AI would be compelling, and then why specifically this product, Foundry Local. So Foundry Local brings together tools, APIs, and efficiency gains of Onyx runtime, and adds a sort of seamless and standard developer experience to those that runtime and APIs. Developers can reuse their existing applications that call the standard OpenAI API chat completions, and like just simply by swapping in, the remote endpoint for the local endpoint. And then our collaboration with the Windows team and the independent hardware vendors is going to bring this to like the maximum number of devices. So on Windows, like we're working with Intel, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and AMD to provide the best performance across the widest range of devices. This is just like a bit more of a detail about how the system works together. I just flash that up. Some of this functionality is future looking. So for example, the agent runtime in the product right now, it's just model running. We do have an agent runtime in private preview. If anyone's interested, please reach out to me for that. All the rest of the components are available to you, and I'll show you how to install those in a second. Okay, so I'm going to just do a live demo here, so no recording. So bear with me while I just share my other screen. Yeah, so we'll need to just reshare these slides after this, Arnav. Okay. Okay, so I'm on my Windows machine here. I have just two command prompts. And so just firstly, I already have Foundry installed, but if I wanted to install it again, I just install it from winget. So winget install Microsoft Foundry local. I just put that in. It should find it. It's already found it. So Foundry minus version here. And that's the version we're currently running with. This is the CLI experience, and it allows you to list models that are in a catalog. The catalog is hosted on on Azure, and it just lists the models that are available here. And you can see there are the generic model name here, and then we have different variants of these that will run on different devices of your local hardware. So CPU, GPU, and if you're running a Copilot PC, you can also run on NPU. I do not have a Copilot PC in front of me right now. Okay, so that's the CLI experience here. And then just move over to this other window and I'll run just a few, I can run a few prompts through a model. So this is a Qwen 2.5 Coda 1.5B model. Now you'll see that loaded very quickly. That's because I have already downloaded the model and it's cached on my local device. If the model wasn't already downloaded, it would go and grab it from the catalog and put it onto my local device. It would take a little bit longer. You would see the download experience of a minute or two. I put a link later in the slides. I'll put a link to the demo we did at Build, and we developed in 15 minutes. We developed an end-to-end application for a travel. Tell me, give me a travel itinerary for a certain city. So and this was similar to the prompt we use for that. So this is a Coda model, the Qwen 2.5 Coda model. There are also chat completion models, so you can do chat and some reasoning models in the catalog as well. So this is a Coda one. So I just had this prompt: write a Flask web application to generate a travel itinerary using the OpenAI API REST endpoint. And that just gives me my application and instructions of how to use it. And the reason I generated this application is because I wanted to show you that this REST endpoint here is the OpenAI endpoint. Once we have our model running in Foundry Local, all we need to do is switch this endpoint into a local endpoint, and we have a completely local on-device application running that does not go out to the web at all. And then I can exit out of the chat. And yeah, that's the demo. You can see more details in the link I've shared at the end of the slides. You can watch our built demo, and I've also shared a link to our documentation. And if you want to just reshare the slides, please. I'll stop sharing here.
1 second, I'll just pull those
Yeah,
up.
thank you. Okay, we just go skip. Also, I wanted to share with you our sort of next 3-month roadmap. So, as I mentioned, we launched the preview of Foundry Local at Build. Right now, we're working on broadening that silicon support with all of the GPUs and NPUs, and we are also supporting the sort of production readiness for shipping apps. So right now, the end user needs to install the CLI so that the inference server can start up. So that will no longer be needed in the production version. We're working with a few customers to develop POCs. We're also adding more model modalities. Right now, these are all language models. We're also working on audio models and some other modalities. And then there's also the addition of some other operating systems such as Android. And then we will go GA at Ignite with all of this functionality in the product. And I just wondered if anyone has any questions, if you wanted to ask them now, or you can feel free to reach out to me after this meeting. I think there is a question in the chat. I will get back with an answer to that. Yeah, we definitely need to have a consolidate the story for the all of these Azure and local products. So I'll get back to you with a answer on that one.
Awesome. Thank you so
Hey,
much for sharing, Natalie. We really appreciate it. And this was really new content for a lot of our audience. So I think we'll all have a lot more questions as we continue to play around and evaluate AI Foundry Local. But this was super informative. So appreciate the walkthrough and the demo.
yeah, you're so welcome. And yeah, hopefully we can all continue to work together.
Yep. Awesome. And it is available on Windows Server 2025 as well. So folks can try it out with their Arc-enabled Windows Server 2025 instances as well. Great. So with that, we'll hand over to Justin, and he's going to talk about a highly demanded feature that's finally in preview, the Auto Agent upgrade, with a demo and more details on that. So Justin, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you, Arnav. Hi everyone, I'm Justin. I'm a software engineer on the Arc for Service team. I work on both the agent side as well as the service and resource provider that serves the agent. So I'm not sure if some of you were here during, I believe, the February call where we announced private preview in select regions, but now we're in public preview in all the regions that we are in for Arc for Service. And if you're not familiar with this feature, it's to enable users to receive agent updates automatically. Just with, one operation, you opt in and you sort of set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about, manually running scripts. You don't have to worry about, like, hey, like Arc just released a new version today. Do I have to like do something specific for, these machines or these machines? You can sort of just opt them all in and we'll handle the rest. So hopefully this will, reduce your overhead when handling all your Arc machines and also ensure that you're on the newest build with the least amount of bugs with all the security features that we push out every month. So like the opt-in method is still the same. You just make a patch request to your resources. This can be easily done with like a PowerShell script. By here I have an example client using invoke AZ REST method. And what's exciting too is we have portal changes coming soon, very soon, in the coming week or two, that will allow you to opt in via the portal, which is super cool because you can just, click through all your Arc machines and click a checkbox and opt them all in. And this way it simplifies the management process, simplifies the upgrade process. And yeah, hopefully we can push out some comms when this is available, when the portal changes are available for everyone. And then you can also check the individual status of, if you're wondering, hey, like, is my machine upgraded yet? What was the status? If it failed, what's the reason? You can check it on the machine's resource model on the portal as well. So one thing I'd like to note is that let's say you opt in to your machine today. You're not going to have your machine updated immediately. We have some sort of rollout and batching logic to ensure that we don't, upgrade everyone's machines all at once at the same time. So I think right now we have a grace period of around 3 weeks, and you can generally expect all your machines to be upgraded to the latest version around that time. That's all I had for today. Don't really have a demo for this, other than the screenshots you see. I can answer any questions now, or I'll definitely follow the chat and answer anything if you have questions there. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Justin. And one more quick question I think might come up is, What's the oldest agent version that this goes back down to for customers that are looking to upgrade?
So for it would be 1.48. So you must be on 1.48 for auto upgrade to work.
Well, thanks so much, Justin. And if folks have questions, please put in the chat. But as you can see, lots of folks are super excited to get this started. And certainly with the fleet of Arc servers I have, I'll be opting in to the auto agent upgrade to stay on the latest agent version. Great. So with that, we're happy to announce our last speaker. Mutemwa will be joining us and will be speaking to the customizable security baseline through Azure machine configuration capability. And so we know this is also top of mind for a lot of folks. So excited to have you speak a little bit more about this and demo this as well.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Arnav. Hey everyone, my name is Mutemwa. I am a product manager in Azure Machine Configuration as well as Azure Policy. And I'm excited today to do a demo of what we currently have as we, head into public preview, which is coming soon. We're not there yet, but just to jog everyone's memory, Azure Machine Config is a platform that enables at scale server configurations, where we leverage the amazing governance platform that we have available through Azure Policy, ARG, and Azure Resource Manager, and extend that into Azure VMs as well as Arc-enabled machines. And so, a huge pain point that customers today struggle with is that they have all these regulatory compliance standards that they need to adhere to and showcase that to their auditors for security hardening purposes, as well as being able to align to internal requirements. And so there isn't a clear way of being able to enable such a complex way of authoring and deploying security configurations in your environment. And so what we've been doing over the past couple of months is really thinking about how do we leverage this scenario, enable this scenario as a built-in solution for Azure customers today. So we're pleased to announce that soon enough we'll be enabling this feature, and essentially the key scenarios will be providing platform capabilities to have default regulatory compliance policies as a starting point. From then on, you can exclude settings and customize them before making an enforcement. We also recognize that enabling customization also allows you to safely deploy enforcement policies against security benchmarks within your environment. And so remediation as we approach to GA is a feature we'll also be enabling. And this solution is meant to integrate with all the workflows you're familiar with today, which include CI/CD deployments, command line experiences, and of course, Azure Portal deployments for policies as well. And we also recognize the difficulty of being able to review and manage over 300 settings contained within a baseline. And so our solution allows you to search and filter and view metadata per setting, like severity and category, before exporting those artifacts out so that you have a declarative, repeatable template that you can use to make configuration deployments. And so what I'll do is I'll just share my screen and show you a little teaser of what the experience will look like. And then I will also send out in the chat an interest form where you can let us know if you would like to at some point be included in our preview. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, so the entry point for this experience is going to live within Azure Policy. And so what we have here today, just for the sake of the demo, are these two policies, the CIS Ubuntu Linux 22 benchmark, as well as the Azure Security benchmark for Windows. And the most important thing is we wanted to enable a wizard that is compatible with all your as code deployment workflows. And so what we are tasked with is, creating a way that you can have a wizard that allows you to easily customize these settings and then deploy them using as code workflows. And so you'd be able to select one benchmark. We'll select Ubuntu Linux for example, and we'll select modify settings. And within this benchmark, we can see all the rules that are listed within the CIS benchmark. And we know that, for example, there are scenarios where you might not want to enable certain settings. So, for example, let's say you want to disable app armor settings. And so you would be able to just search for that and then click the checkbox to deselect them. And so what this means is that from the artifact that we generate, that will then go into the policy definition as a parameter, these settings will not be included. Um, Now, in addition, we have certain settings that have values that you want to provide custom input. And so we also provide the capability to, provide um, any kind of input that you wish to pass in to a particular setting. So I just edited that just for the sake of an example. Um, but, you know, given that in this benchmark there are 240 settings, it's very difficult to know how they all behave and what a compliance check looks like. And so we allow you to also use this wizard to click on a setting name and view a description of each of these particular settings. And so once you've been able to create a template that you can then deploy in CI/CD, once you've been able to customize the settings, we allow you to download a template that you can make a deployment within your environment. And we'll take a look at that soon enough. But let's say you wanted to make a template deployment through the Azure portal itself. So you would be able to select assign policy. Um, you would specify the scope of a deployment. I'll just pick some random example, and I'll pick a resource group that I'm just using to test. And then I would select my policy definition, which in this case would be a preview policy for the baseline, which in this case would be our preview Linux policy. So let's see, preview, and then Linux. Sorry, I think my punctuation is way off. Okay, yeah. Linux machines should meet requirements. The Azure security baseline for. Okay, so just need 1 second. See how I can pull this up. So, okay, let's see. Oh yeah, there we are. Phew. Okay, awesome. So we found the policy, and then we'll just make a selection there, and then we'll give it a name, say test baseline 3, for example. And then within the parameter tab within the policy definition, you can now see that there's a new entry that says baseline settings. And so what you're then able to do is upload your artifact into the baseline, and you can see the settings configured there. And then you can hit select and go to review and create and make the policy assignment. So now, let's say you have an existing assignment and it's a baseline assignment, and you would like to view what the compliance state is. So we support you being able to do that. As you can see, the assignment we just created actually is already there. So I'll just select this assignment that I made prior for the sake of this demo, you can edit it and update the parameter values, but in this case, we will just go to review compliance. And so you can see that it reports compliance for each machine. In this case, we just have one, and we would like to view the per rule compliance. And so we would just navigate to the guest assignments page from Azure Policy. And then we can see, in this case, it's a Windows machine. So we're able to see the compliance for each setting. We customized it down to only 12 settings for the sake of an example, and the Windows benchmark that we have for preview supports up to 300. But in this case, for gradual policy rollout purposes, we only started with 12 non-critical rules. And so you can see the compliance report being generated there. And that is pretty much the full end-to-end scenario. There are other experiences you can plug into that involve, CI/CD pipeline deployments, but for the sake of just explaining how the workflow works, that is primarily how it's going to work. And if you're interested in giving us your feedback, leaving your contact info so we can reach out to you once our preview is available for more customers to onboard. I'm happy to take your info by just filling out the form that I sent out in the chat. And then you can leave your details there. And as soon as I'm able to onboard more customers, I'll be sure to reach out accordingly. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was a awesome demo and great to see all of the exciting work happening with machine configuration and compliance capabilities. It's really tremendous, the level of granularity with all the governance capabilities and all of it's just out of the box, part of the Arc connected machine agent with machine configuration, guest configuration being part of that. So that's awesome to see all the exciting work there. With that, that's a wrap for today's Arc Server Forum. Thank you so much to all of our great presenters. We covered a lot, everything from agent upgrade, CIS compliance, to AI Foundry local, and SQL migration. So everything from updating your agent to using the latest with AI to CIS compliance to migrating your workloads. You got a whole breadth of things and a whole breadth of innovation happening on the Arc server front. So with that, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for joining our August session, and we look forward to having you in our September session as well. Thanks all. Have a great rest of the month.